how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out the Bob Marley classic Lively Up Yourself. Now, there's some super great guitar in this song. I spent a bit of time this morning just jamming along with it, trying to soak up some of that groove, because I've never felt very good at reggae. And this one just seemed like such a clear example of the different parts and the way you get that kind of muted strum and stuff going on, that I figured this would be a really good one to teach you guys, so, you know, I can share the stuff that I'm learning at the same time. I've still got a ways to go from getting in my proper reggae groove on, but there's a few things that I can share with you. So this song, starting as a starting point, is just real simple. It's just D to G. Okay, so the harmony, D going to G, to G. A beginner could play like a campfire version of that. Lively up yourself. I mean, it's pretty far removed from reggae if you start doing it like a campfire strumming pattern on it, but essentially that's what the harmony is doing. It's just a D chord to a G chord. But where this gets really cool is the couple of guitar parts. I'm going to talk first of all about the skank, which is the term for these kind of chipped, muted kind of chord thing going on here. This now I was using before this kind of they call it position 2. I always used to call it position 4. Whatever the bridge and the middle pick up together. Quite often though as well, if you use the bridge pickup and just roll the volume back to. There's a few different ways of approaching the chords for this song. Obviously there's lots of ways of playing D and G, but the ones that I felt kind of worked best for this, that I think were what were on the record, is using a D chord like this. So it's just using my third finger to bar fret 7 on strings 2, 3 and 4, making sure that the third finger is lifting up enough to mute the thinner string, kind of wrapping all my fingers around so I can strum, and I'm only really getting those 3 notes. But here's the interesting thing. So it's 1, 2 and 3, 4 and down, up, 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Now, I think possibly there'd be good cause to argue that it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that they're 16th notes. But I'm definitely feeling it's a bit easier to count it, thinking 8th notes. So 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. But what I do notice is it's not quite as clear as I would have always approached playing reggae. I always, you know, I always kind of thought that you wanted the note to be nice and clear, but actually listening to it a bit closer, it seems like most of the time the chords are kind of a little bit more muted. It's much more. So it's actually quite hard to do, so I'm just pressing enough for a little bit of the notes to come out. But I want it to be closer to just mute. I want it closer to that than, because when the chord is full, it just doesn't sound right. It's not the character of the music, you know. It's much more about the rhythm of that. It's kind of like a melodic percussion. I don't know if that's the. So that's, I think, the first thing to practice. Just going 1, 2 and 3, 4 and trying not to get it too clear, and just let some of the notes ring out. Now the other chord is the G chord. I'm just using the top part of, like, you know, big bar chord. I have seen a few videos of the reggae guys using the big chord grips, but it doesn't sound like they're really coming out like that. For me it sounds much more. But again, I keep adding too many notes in because that's kind of what I instinctively want to do, but it's definitely. So D, G, D, G. Now, I'm sometimes adding little clicky bits in, but it's definitely not with all of the clicks in between all the time. It just makes it too messy. Again, it's just not the character of the style, you know. So You could do it that way. You could choose to do your own unique version, but most times this kind of style for me, you want to try and pick up what the seeds are and dig a little under the surface to find the things that are really good about a particular style. At least that's what I feel like I'm trying to do here with reggae, having not really explored it properly in my life so far. You know, I've been playing guitar for 30 years and I haven't, well, more than 30 years, and I've never really kind of dug much under the surface. I've played these songs. I even played in a reggae band, badly, I might point out, when I was a teenager. But yeah, one of those things is just these nice, tight little chord chips where you don't hear too many of the notes. It's worth spending a bit of time just on doing that. And again, this is a great track for it because it's that same change, the whole tune. You know, so you can really spend your time on trying to get that sounding nice and feeling nice, because of course it's reggae. It wants to feel nice. It wants to feel light and happy and relaxed, you know. Before we get on to the second part, I just want to mention the idea of looping that one. I find the reggae one a little harder to loop than regular patterns because you're not playing on one. So you've got to go looper, da 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 da, looper, da da. I always find that, you know, making the big motion for the beat one to finish kind of threw off my rhythm a little bit. So it's something I had to really concentrate on and not kind of make my foot movement on the looper as big as it might normally, because it was definitely doing some wonky things on my rhythm. I'm sure with a bit of practice I'll sort that out, as you will, but just to give you a little heads up that you might want to watch out for that when you're not playing on the one, using your looper pedal still wants to go on the one. So let's have a look now at the stuck line. Now, I never knew it was called that until this morning, doing a little bit more research into the names of the parts in reggae. I always thought it was called the link, but it's basically the guitar part that is doubling the bass part. And if you're doing this, you really got to concentrate on making your guitar part and the bass part sound like one instrument. It's almost like you're adding a top end kind of click to the bass sound. It really wants to be absolutely tight, and if you're playing it in the band, you want your full attention to be on the bass player and you playing together. It's a really big deal. I loved practicing this tune this morning and playing along with the original recording, trying to get in that pocket with the bass player and the guitar player. It made me feel better about my reggae groove, working on it. It's still not perfect. I'm still a long way from feeling like I've got a proper reggae groove on, but just the process of doing like a half an hour practicing this track, playing along with it, really helped me get the feel of it right. So that's something, it's quite a simple line. The rhythm might be challenging for some of you, but again, listening to the original recording, I'll explain it to you and I'll explain the count and stuff. But really just trying to play it along with the original recording is the key thing, and really focusing on the bass part. So there are two kind of lines here. The first one, okay, very, very simple part. So we start here with the third finger on the 5th fret of the thickest string. Then first finger 3rd fret 5th string, 3rd finger 5th fret 5th string. Then the same thing down a string, 5th fret on the 5th string, 3rd fret on the 4th string, 5th fret on the 4th string, and then the same thing again that we started off with. But the key thing here is the rhythm. Rhythm is king in reggae. So the count, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Using all downs, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. One last time, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I should note that that last little note is only there on the repeat, okay? So that first little riff there that I showed you, that's repeated twice at the beginning and then it goes into this second riff. I don't think that last note is there when it goes into the second riff. The second riff, so we start off with the 5th fret on the thicker string, 3rd fret on the 5th string, then 3 picks on the 5th fret of the 5th string, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Now the second bar is 1, 2 triplet, 3, 4, 1, 7th fret, 5th fret on the 5th string, 7th fret, 3rd fret on the thicker string. So you could do it I think it's probably more authentic again. We end up with 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 triplet 3, 4. And the third bar then is 1 and 2 and, okay, so almost the same as the first riff but with one less note. 1 and 2 and 5th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 5th fret. Then there's a whole bar rest. So really slowly the whole thing. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 triplet 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 triplet 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3. One of the things that's really key here is the little mute. So trying to get that part of your palm there resting on the strings, you want to find just the right amount where you can hear the note. Still got enough click, it's still got a kind of a percussive element. It doesn't want to be this, where there's just no note, but it doesn't want to be, it doesn't want to be like this. It's got to be little, and just watch out on that too. It wants to be nice short finish, not, it's how I felt like I naturally wanted to play it like that, or maybe because I come from a kind of a rock blues background. It feels more rocky, but definitely it's definitely more of a reggae kind of thing. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 triplet 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Picking is a kind of a weird thing, weird situation here, because I feel like some of these riffs really benefit from alternate picking. So like down, up, down, up. It feels, that's what it should be. Down, up, down, up. Down, up, down, up. But having watched a few close-ups of reggae guys playing, it does seem to be a lot of downstrokey action. And when I replicate that and do the downstrokes myself, it feels different and feels kind of better. It feels more authentic. I don't really know why that is. Probably it forces you to do some slight time changes, which perhaps they're doing it. I'm still a little bit like, how does that work? I don't really understand, but it feels better. It feels more right to me. So it might be something that you want to try. Try using alternate picking if you really struggle with using all down picks, because it is a little quick for that. But I'd give the all down picks a bit of a go as well and see if it makes you feel closer to being in the pocket. So it's being in the pocket, I mean playing exactly the same as the bass. So playing along with the original recording, I really can't emphasize how important that is. You'll hear, now that you've got those two riffs, you should be able to play along with the original recording without too much bother. You should be able to hear where they change. It's usually 2 of that first riff and then 4 or 8 of the second riff and then back again. There is one other bit. Bit of an odd riff this, but it sounds great. 3rd fret on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, 2nd finger 5th fret on the 5th string, you let them ring out. 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 triplet 3, 4 and. That's just 5th fret on the 4th string, 1 and 2 triplet 3, 4 and then it's just held out. Again, the rhythm, so it's a 4-bar cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 triplet 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 triplet 3, 4 and 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That riff only shows up a couple of times, so it's nothing too much to worry about, especially if you're doing the loopy thing. I'd just be really concentrating on the first 2 riffs there. The big deal here, and I really can't emphasize it enough, is playing along with the original recording. There's so much there. Like, I really felt like I learned a lot just playing along for like half an hour, transcribing it and then figuring it out and trying to lock into the groove. And I'm sure that you find the same sort of benefit. It's not a hard riff. It's not technically difficult to do, but really getting into the pocket and feeling that groove and making it feel nice is much more challenging than you might first think. So give it a go. Please do hit that subscribe button if you dig what I do. I really appreciate your support, and there'll be a link in the description that'll take you over to the website where you'll find hundreds and hundreds of songs in loads of different styles. I'm sure there's going to be a few other things there to pique your interest. Thank you for the support. I'll see you for plenty more guitar lessons very soon. You take care of yourselves. Bye bye.